Salvatore Dante had not spoken to his mother in 3 years, until a broken waitress with trembling hands signed the words, "I'm sorry," across a crowded Brooklyn restaurant, and his entire world stopped. The entire room fell silent. 40 men in tailored suits, 20 women dripping in diamonds, all frozen, all staring, because nobody knew that Salvatore Dante's mother was deaf. Nobody knew she existed, and yet this slip of a girl with bruises peeking out from beneath her sleeves was signing to her like they were old friends. Who was she? How did she know? And why did Salvatore feel his chest crack open for the first time since he'd buried his sister 5 years ago? But before we dive into this story of silence, secrets, and the kind of love that rewrites your entire life, where are you watching from? Drop your country or city in the comments below. I love seeing our community grow across the world. And if you want exclusive access to bonus content, extended scenes, and early releases of stories like this, click that join button right now to become a channel member. You'll get behind the scenes, insights, and members only content you won't find anywhere else. Now let's go back to that restaurant, back to the moment everything changed. Her name was Elena Rossi, 24 years old, 5'3", a shadow of a woman who'd learned to make herself invisible because being seen meant being hurt. She'd been working at Lombardi's, the upscale Italian restaurant in Brooklyn Heights, for exactly 6 weeks. 6 weeks of keeping her head down, her voice soft, her existence small. The tips were good, the customers were wealthy, and most importantly, nobody asked questions. Nobody asked about the fingerprint bruises on her wrists. Nobody asked why she flinched when men raised their voices. Nobody asked why she never, ever looked anyone directly in the eye. Until tonight. It was a Friday, the kind of November evening where the cold bites through your coat and the city smells like roasted chestnuts and expensive cologne. Lombardi's was packed, reservation only, the kind of place where senators ate beside CEOs, where deals were made over Barolo and Ossobuco. And in the center of the restaurant, at the table, everyone pretended not to stare at, sat Salvatore Dante, 6'4", broad shoulders that stretched his Tom Ford suit to its limits, dark hair slicked back, revealing a face carved from Sicilian stone, sharp jaw, dark eyes that missed nothing, a thin scar running through his left eyebrow from a knife fight when he was 17. He was 32 years old and controlled half of Brooklyn's underground. Shipping, real estate, construction, everyone knew his name. Everyone feared it. But tonight, he wasn't conducting business. Tonight, he'd done something he hadn't done in 3 years. He'd brought his mother to dinner, Maria Dante, 67 years old, small, elegant, with silver hair swept into a neat bun and kind eyes that reminded Salvatore of his sister, his beautiful, brilliant sister who died because he hadn't been fast enough, smart enough, ruthless enough to save her. His mother had been deaf since birth. Growing up, Salvatore had learned sign language before he learned to read. He'd been her voice, her ears, her connection to a world that often forgot she existed. But after his sister's death, Salvatore had pulled away. Too much grief, too much guilt, too many memories of signing at her funeral while his mother wept silently beside him. 3 years of distance, 3 years of sending money but never visiting. 3 years of breaking his mother's heart because he couldn't bear to face his own failures. But tonight was her birthday, and Matteo, his second in command, had practically begged him to reach out. So here they were, mother and son, sitting in silence while the restaurant buzzed around them. Salvatore had forgotten how to start a conversation with her. His hands felt heavy, foreign. The signs that had once been second nature now felt like trying to speak a language he'd abandoned. His mother watched him with patient, sad eyes, waiting, hoping. And then Elena appeared. She'd been assigned to their table by the manager, a sweaty, nervous man named Tony, who'd nearly fainted when he realized Salvatore Dante was dining tonight. Tony had grabbed Elena's arm, hard enough to bruise, and hissed, "Don't mess this up. Smile. Be perfect. Don't speak unless spoken to." Elena had nodded. She was good at following orders, good at disappearing. She approached the table with water glasses balanced on a tray, her hands steady despite the tremor in her chest. Salvatore glanced up, his eyes, dark, intense, calculating, swept over her in half a second, noted her, dismissed her, returned to his phone. But his mother smiled, a warm, genuine smile that reached her eyes, the kind of smile that said, "I see you and you matter." Elena's breath caught because nobody had looked at her like that in months, not since Marcus, her ex-boyfriend, her warden, her nightmare, had isolated her from everyone who'd ever cared. She set the water down gently. Her hands shook slightly. Salvatore's eyes flickered up again, narrowing this time. Noticing, Elena pulled out her notepad, ready to take their order. And that's when she saw it. Maria Dante was signing, small, hesitant movements, asking her son something, her expression hopeful. Salvatore's jaw tightened. He didn't respond. Didn't even look at her, just scrolled through his phone like she wasn't there. Elena watched the hope drain from Maria's face, watched her hands drop to her lap, watched her fold inward, shrinking into that familiar posture of someone used to being ignored. And Elena knew that feeling. God, she knew it so well it ached. Before she could think, before fear could stop her, Elena's hands moved. She signed, "What would you like to eat tonight?" The restaurant didn't fall silent immediately. It took a moment, a ripple effect as people noticed, as Salvatore's head snapped up so fast it should have given him whiplash, as Maria's eyes went wide with shock and then filled with tears. Elena kept signing, her movements careful, precise. She learned ASL in college, had volunteered at a school for deaf children. It had been years, but her hands remembered. The chef's special is veal Milanese. It's very good. Maria's hands flew up, excited, signing rapidly. Elena smiled, a real, genuine smile that transformed her entire face, and signed back, a conversation, fluid, natural, and Salvatore couldn't breathe. He watched this tiny waitress with haunted eyes and bruised wrists have a full conversation with his mother, watched his mother light up in a way he hadn't seen in years, watched them laugh together, hands dancing through the air. "Who are you?" His voice came out, rougher than he intended. A command, not a question. Elena's smile vanished. She turned to him, eyes dropping immediately to the floor, back to invisible, back to small. "Elena, sir, I'm sorry if I overstepped. Look at me." It wasn't a request. Slowly, reluctantly, Elena raised her eyes, and Salvatore saw everything: the fear, the pain, the bruises she tried to hide, the way she held herself like she expected to be hit. Something cold and violent twisted in his chest. "Where did you learn to sign?" His voice was softer now, controlled. "College, sir. I volunteered with deaf children for 3 years. My mother says you have kind hands." He paused. "She's right." Elena's eyes widened because nobody called her kind. Certainly not men who looked like they could break the world with their bare hands. "Thank you, sir." "Salvatore." He leaned back, studying her. "My name is Salvatore, and you're going to sit down and have dinner with us." I can't. I'm working." He raised one finger. Within seconds, Tony, the manager, appeared, practically vibrating with anxiety. "Yes, Mr. Dante?" "Elena is taking the rest of the night off. Paid." "Of course, Mr. Dante. Whatever you..." "And Tony?" Salvatore's voice dropped to something dangerous. "If I find out you've been hurting my employees, we're going to have a very different conversation." Tony went white, stammered something, vanished. Salvatore turned back to Elena. "Sit." Maria was already signing enthusiastically, patting the chair beside her. Elena should have run, should have made an excuse, should have protected herself from getting involved with men like this. But Maria's smile was so warm, and Salvatore's eyes, despite their intensity, held something unexpected: concern. So Elena sat, and for the first time in months, she didn't feel invisible. She felt seen. Dinner lasted 3 hours. 3 hours of Elena signing with Maria, while Salvatore watched like he was memorizing every movement. Maria told stories about young Salvatore learning to sign, about his sister Isabella, who'd been deaf like her mother, about the garden she kept on her balcony. Elena laughed, actually laughed. The sound surprised her, like she'd forgotten her own voice could make that noise. Salvatore barely ate. He just watched, listened, and slowly, hesitantly, his hands began to move. Rusty at first, clumsy, but his mother's face when he signed "I missed you" made tears stream down her cheeks. By the time dessert arrived, something had shifted. The ice between mother and son had begun to crack, and Salvatore had made a decision. When the restaurant finally closed, when the last customers filed out and the staff began cleaning, Salvatore walked Elena to the door. "Where do you live?" Elena tensed. "Why?" "Because you're terrified, and I want to know why." "I'm fine." "Elena." He stepped closer, not threatening, protective. "Those bruises on your wrists are fresh. You flinch every time a man raises his voice. You didn't eat anything at dinner, even though I insisted. You're not fine." Her eyes burned. "It's none of your business." "It is now." "Why?" She finally looked at him fully, angry and desperate. "Why do you care? You don't know me." Dinner lasted 3 hours. 3 hours of Elena signing with Maria, while Salvatore watched like he was memorizing every movement. Maria told stories about young Salvatore learning to sign, about his sister Isabella, who'd been deaf like her mother, about the garden she kept on her balcony. Elena laughed, actually laughed. The sound surprised her, like she'd forgotten her own voice could make that noise. Salvatore barely ate. He just watched, listened, and slowly, hesitantly, his hands began to move. Rusty at first, clumsy, but his mother's face when he signed I missed you, made tears stream down her cheeks. By the time dessert arrived, something had shifted. The ice between mother and son had begun to crack, and Salvatore had made a decision. When the restaurant finally closed, when the last customers filed out, and the staff began cleaning, Salvatore walked Elena to the door. "Where do you live?" Elena tensed. "Why?" "Because you're terrified, and I want to know why." "I'm fine, Elena." He stepped closer, not threatening, protective. "Those bruises on your wrists are fresh. You flinch every time a man raises his voice. You didn't eat anything at dinner, even though I insisted. You're not fine." Her eyes burned. "It's none of your business." "It is now." "Why?" She finally looked at him fully, angry and desperate. "Why do you care?" "You don't know me." Salvatore's jaw clenched. "Because someone hurt you, and I don't let that slide." "You can't." "Where do you live?" The door behind them opened. A man stepped in, 6 feet tall, blonde hair, cold blue eyes, expensive watch. Marcus. Elena's entire body went rigid. "There you are, baby." His voice was smooth, dangerous. "I've been waiting outside for an hour. You didn't answer my texts." "I was working." "Don't lie to me." He grabbed her arm, hard, exactly where the bruises were. Elena gasped, and Salvatore moved. One moment, he was standing beside Elena. The next, Marcus was slammed against the brick wall outside. Salvatore's forearm pressed against his throat, cutting off air. "Let her go." Marcus's eyes bulged. He released Elena's arm. "Good." Salvatore leaned in close, voice dropping to a whisper only Marcus could hear. "Now listen very carefully. You're going to walk away. You're going to delete her number. You're going to forget she exists. Because if I ever see you near her again, if I even hear your name in the same sentence as hers, I will personally make sure you disappear. Do you understand?" Marcus nodded frantically. Salvatore released him. Marcus stumbled, gasped, and ran. Silence. Salvatore turned back to Elena. She was shaking, not from fear this time, from relief, from shock, from the overwhelming realization that someone had finally protected her. "He'll come back," she whispered. "No, he won't. You don't understand." "Elena," Salvatore's voice gentled. "Look at me." She did. "He will never touch you again. I promise." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Why are you doing this?" His expression flickered. Pain, guilt, memory. "Because 5 years ago, someone hurt my sister, and I didn't stop it in time. She died scared and alone, and I've lived with that every day since." His voice cracked. "I can't save Isabella, but I can save you." Elena's hand moved without thinking, reached up, touched his cheek. Salvatore froze, because nobody touched him. Nobody dared, but Elena did, and her touch was so gentle it shattered something inside him. "Thank you," she whispered. He covered her hand with his. "You're safe now. I swear it." That night, Salvatore took Elena to a safe house, a penthouse apartment in Manhattan, 20 floors up, secure, beautiful, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. "This is yours," he said, handing her a key, "for as long as you need it." Elena stared. "I can't." "You can. You will." He opened the door. The apartment was furnished, modern, clean, a kitchen stocked with food, a bedroom with soft sheets, a bathroom with expensive soaps. Salvatore, this is too much. It's not enough. He turned to her. Marcus won't find you here. Tomorrow, Matteo will take you to get your things from your old place. Anything you want, we'll bring here. I don't understand why you're... Because you signed to my mother. His voice was raw. Because you saw her, really saw her. Do you know how rare that is? How many people walk past her like she's invisible? He ran a hand through his hair. You gave her something precious tonight. You gave her connection. So now I'm giving you something precious. Safety. Elena's tears started again. I don't know how to thank you. Don't thank me. Just heal. He moved toward the door. Salvatore? He paused. Will I see you again? He looked back, something vulnerable in his eyes. Do you want to? Yes. A small smile, barely there, but real. Then you will. 3 weeks later, Elena moved through the apartment like she was learning to inhabit her own body again. The bruises had faded. She'd gained weight. Salvatore sent food every day, usually with a note from Maria. She slept without nightmares, laughed without fear. Salvatore visited every few days, always with an excuse, bringing groceries, checking security, delivering messages from his mother. But really, he came because he couldn't stay away. They'd sit on the balcony, overlooking the city, and talk about everything, nothing. Elena told him about growing up in a small town in Connecticut, about losing her parents in a car accident at 19, about Marcus, who'd seemed charming at first, but slowly isolated her, controlled her, hurt her. Salvatore told her about Isabella, about learning to sign, about taking over the family business at 23 after his father's heart attack, about the weight of power and the loneliness it brought. People fear me, he said one night, whiskey glass in hand, but nobody knows me. I'm starting to, Elena replied, softly. He looked at her, really looked. And? Are you afraid? No, she met his eyes. I see you, Salvatore, the real you, and he's not who the world thinks he is. His hand found hers, squeezed gently. You make me want to be better. You're already good. You just hide it. He laughed, a real, unguarded sound. You're the only person who'd say that. Then everyone else is blind. That's when Salvatore realized he was falling hard, completely, irreversibly, for a woman who signed to his mother, who saw past his reputation, who made him feel human again. As for Marcus, he was never seen in Brooklyn again. Rumor had it he moved to California, took a job far away, never looked back. Elena didn't ask. She knew, and she was grateful. 2 months later, winter turned New York into a snow globe. Elena started volunteering again, teaching sign language at a community center in Brooklyn. Salvatore drove her every week, waiting outside like a bodyguard who'd forgotten he had an empire to run. Maria visited often. She and Elena became inseparable, cooking together, gardening on the apartment balcony, laughing in silence. Salvatore watched his mother come alive again, and every time he saw them together, his chest ached with gratitude. One evening, after Maria left, Salvatore stayed. They were in the kitchen, Elena making tea, Salvatore leaning against the counter, watching her move through the space like it was home. You're staring, Elena said, without turning around. I know. Why? Because you're beautiful. She froze, set down the kettle, turned slowly. Salvatore pushed off the counter, closed the distance between them. His hands found her waist, gentle, asking permission. Elena. His voice was rough, vulnerable. I need to tell you something. What? I'm falling in love with you. The words hung in the air, terrifying, true. Elena's breath hitched. Salvatore. Dash. You don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. He started to pull away. She grabbed his shirt, pulled him back. I'm already there, she whispered. I've been falling since the moment you stood up for me. His forehead dropped to hers. I don't deserve you. Yes, you do. I've done terrible things. So have I. I stayed with someone who hurt me. I let myself become invisible. We've both survived, Salvatore. Now we get to live. He kissed her then, soft, reverent, like she was something sacred. Elena melted into him. Her hands slid up his chest, around his neck, his arms wrapped around her waist, lifting her slightly. The kiss deepened, became more, became everything. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, Salvatore rested his forehead against hers again. Stay with me, he whispered. Not in this apartment, with me, in my home, in my life, forever. Elena's eyes filled with tears. Yes, Salvatore. Yes to everything. He picked her up, spinning her around, laughing like a man who just won the lottery because he had. He'd won her and she'd won him. Two broken people who'd found wholeness in each other. 4 months later, the proposal happened on Maria's balcony garden. Spring had arrived, flowers blooming, the city buzzing below. Elena was signing with Maria about planting tomatoes when Salvatore appeared. He looked nervous, actually nervous. This man who'd stared down senators and crime bosses was trembling. He knelt, pulled out a ring, vintage, delicate, his grandmother's, and signed his proposal, every word, so his mother could be part of the moment. Elena Rossi, you brought light back into my darkness. You gave my mother her son back. You made me believe in goodness again. Will you marry me? Elena couldn't breathe, couldn't speak, could only sign back, yes, 1,000 times, yes. Maria sobbed. Happy tears pulled them both into a hug, and Salvatore held both women, his mother and his future wife, and felt peace for the first time since Isabella died. 1 year later, the wedding was small, intimate, held in a garden in Brooklyn. Maria signed the entire ceremony. Elena wore flowers in her hair. Salvatore cried when she walked down the aisle. They honeymooned in Sicily. Salvatore showed her his family's village. They visited Isabella's grave. Elena signed to her, told her about Salvatore, promised to take care of him. Salvatore wept against Elena's shoulder, and she held him, let him grieve, let him heal. 18 months later, Elena woke to sunlight streaming through the bedroom windows of their brownstone in Brooklyn Heights. She rolled over, hands settling on her rounded belly, 6 months pregnant. A girl, they were naming her Isabella. Salvatore appeared in the doorway with coffee for him and tea for her. He set the mugs down and immediately put his hand on her stomach, feeling for kicks. She's awake, Elena signed and spoke simultaneously. They did that now, moved between languages seamlessly. Like her mother, Salvatore signed back. Maria would be visiting later to help set up the nursery, to teach Elena lullabies in sign language. Elena watched Salvatore's face, the way he looked at her, at their baby, with such fierce love and protectiveness. This man who the world feared, who she knew as gentle, loyal, broken in beautiful ways. "What are you thinking?" he asked. "That I'm grateful? For what?" "For that night, for your mother's smile, for you protecting me, for all of it." She took his hand. "I was so lost, Salvatore, and you found me. We found each other," he corrected. He leaned down, kissed her forehead. "You saved me, amore mio. You brought me back to life. Then we're even." "Never." He kissed her belly, signed to their daughter. "Your mother is everything." Elena's eyes filled with tears, happy ones, because this was what healing looked like, what love looked like, what safety felt like. A shy waitress who'd learned to speak again, a mafia boss who'd remembered how to be gentle, a deaf woman who'd gotten her son back, 3 souls broken in different ways, forming a family that was whole. That evening, as Elena and Maria cooked dinner while Salvatore watched with a glass of wine, Elena thought back to that night in the restaurant, the moment she decided to sign, to be seen, to risk, the moment everything changed. The entire room had fallen silent, and in that silence, she'd found her voice, her family, her home. So tell me, do you believe in the kind of love that finds you when you're broken? The kind that protects instead of controls? The kind that sees you when the whole world looks away? Where are you watching from tonight? Drop your country or city in the comments below. I love connecting with our global community. If this story moved you, subscribe for more tales of unexpected protection, fierce love, and the healing power of being truly seen. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. And if you want exclusive bonus content, extended scenes, character deep dives, and early access to new stories, click that join button to become a channel member today. Remember, the most powerful language isn't always spoken. Sometimes it's signed, sometimes it's a protective touch, sometimes it's just showing up when someone needs you most. Until next time, stay fierce, stay loved, and never let anyone make you invisible. Ciao, Bella.